Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are watching for the first time, my name is Simbulele. Nice to meet you. Today I have a story time for you guys. I'll be telling the story of how my husband bought me a car. I'm sharing the story, yes, number one, because content. My husband bought me a car. I think that's a big deal. Number two, I also just want to share the different avenues that you can explore. If you want a car, if you're looking to buy a car, but you also want to save some coins, a pre-used car that is. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. Okay, before I tell the story, we need to backtrack a bit, right? So if you've seen my video of how I bought my first property, it will be right here, the link. I don't know how to do it right now, but I'll figure it out and I'll post the link right here. So if you've watched that video, I mentioned in that video that I decided to buy property because I felt like I didn't need a car. Like, should I buy a car? Should I buy property? Amongst other reasons, I was working from home and I was like, oh, I don't need a car. Well, I don't need a car, and at the time I was still unmarried, right? So when I got married later on that year, I was like, I definitely don't need a car because we can just share my husband's car. Fast forward 2022, right? Beginning of the year, I think a lot of people in my life were buying cars, and I must have felt some tinge of peer pressure. But I didn't realize at the time, and I convinced myself that I needed a car. And then on top of that, I convinced my husband that I needed a car. I went to him and I was like, you know what? I need to get used to driving. One day I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to have to drive around the kids, blah, blah, blah. I need to get used to driving now, right? Convinced him. And yeah. Because before I would drive his car, right? But his car had a problem with the clutch and it made it so difficult for me to get used to driving because like I would get so terrified. I was making a lot of mistakes. It was just difficult driving that car. The last time I drove it, I had driven it to the mall, which was not even more than 5 minutes away. Driven it to the mall. On my way back, kuko traffic engakanani. Kuwa traffic engekana na nerves. My legs are shaking. My legs are shaking. The better hazards, people are passing me. I was like, nope, I can't do this. Luckily, like I found an open road in Payana, like a road on the side. And I called my husband crying, please come and get me. Please come and get me. And yeah, long story short, he came and yeah. So I was like, I am never driving this car again. So like, no man, I need a proper car so I can get used to driving, whatever. Sure. So we started exploring different ways of how we can get me a car. So the thing is, there's me, right? Me, I love to save money. I don't love spending money. I don't really like spend. I hoard my money. I want to see it in my bank. I was like, oh, there's money. That's me. And then there's my husband who is on another level of not wanting to separate with his coin. Okay, so we both knew that I was not going to buy a brand new car. Like I didn't want to spend like 6,000, 7,000 on a monthly installment for a car. Nope. So I was willing to pay around half that. So we knew that we would get a pre-used car. Sure. So we checked online, we checked Gumtree. So he was responsible for getting me a car. So we checked online, he finds something on Gumtree. So he and his friend go to test drive it. And I remember that day I was actually going to Zim. My friend was getting married in Zimbabwe and he dropped me off at the airport and then they went to test drive their car. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I come back, I'm gonna have a car. So anyway, they test drive the car and they realize that it also has a problem with the clutch, right? They're like, no, you're not gonna want to drive that car. It's very difficult. And also, the people were very dodgy. I met up with a lady and she was like, yeah, something about like go meet up with my brother. Meets up with the guy, and the guy is like, yeah, that's my wife. So it was very sus, like it was very suspicious and dodgy. So he was like, no, we're not getting that car. But I found another car. I think they actually went and test drove it on the same day. So they found another car online. They met up with the guy. It was a Ford Figo. I don't remember the make and model of the other one. But I remember that when he sent me the car, it was a Ford Figo. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I like it. It's so cute and small. It's me. I like it. I want to drive it. And then he goes and test drives the car. They find that the car is good. The guy tells them where he's selling it. It had a problem, but he's fixed it. Something with the door. But yeah, it's fine now. And my husband's question was, has this car ever been involved in an accident? And the guy was like, no. It's like, oh, okay, sure. Then it's a great car. Like, we're going to get this car for her. So in the process of getting the car, applying at the bank, to finance the purchase of the car. So the guy is sending details to us, details of the car. Hi again. Oh yeah, so yeah, the car, I think it was selling at 100k, and then he negotiated to like 90k, 90 or 95, I think. This was in 2022, and he told us that it was a 2020 model, right? I'm not sure how much a brand new Ford Figo is, but he was selling it at 100k. We're like, okay, cool, that's fine. But then when he sent the car's details over to us, we found that it was actually a 2019 model, right? So he took the price down. We asked him to take the price down. I think it ended up being like 90 or 85k, around that much. So then we apply at the bank, and then in addition to that, my husband draws up a contract between him and the guy saying that, listen, we are going to take this car to DECRA, right? DECRA will check if it's ever been in an accident. They will know, and they'll give us back the report. If we find that this car has been in an accident, then you are going to have to buy the car back. Or we're not going to buy the car. And the guy's like, who's going to pay for DECRA? And my husband was like, we will. I'll pay for it. Sure. He's like, oh, okay. The car has never been in an accident. You're going to go check it out. So I don't know when. Oh, we asked him to sign the contract. We sent it over to him. Day one, we sent a reminder. Nothing. And then I think like on the third day, he sends a voice note. He's like, my brother, hey, the car is gone. The car is gone. They sold it cash. Someone came and paid cash for it. When I heard that voice note, I just laughed. It was so funny the way he was saying it. I just laughed, and I was like, okay, it's cool. I'm not even upset. I'm not even sad. It's fine. So we're like, okay, these people seem dodgy. Maybe let's try We Buy Cars, right? We look online, we find a car. Now, okay, I like this car. I don't remember the make and model, but I was like, okay, sure. I think the car was in Cape Town, and we had to then pay maybe an extra 5k to ship the car over to Joburg, which was okay. We liked the car. We sent an email, City, we are interested in purchasing this car. And then Yoba responded, but unfortunately, someone has already made a down payment on this car, and it's no longer available. Sad. But then I say to my husband, maybe we need to chill a bit. Maybe this is God's way of telling me that it's not yet time. It's not yet time for you to get a car. And my husband, it's very reluctant. It's like, no, you need a car. And I'm like, oh, let's chill a bit. Maybe I don't need a car. Okay. And at that time, I was still working from home. But to get to work, at times, I'd use the Uber, I'd use the train, I'd use the bus. And I used to come back and complain about how people make it seem like getting the Gautrain is so glamorous when it's actually not, because you have a 5-minute delay and you are 20 minutes late at work because you have to wait for the next train. And sometimes Uber can't come to the Gautrain station because Ono taxi, they won't allow them there, and you have to walk a distance. Sometimes, because I'm always working from home, the connector to your Wi-Fi, but if I have to Uber back home, now I have to buy data. I was saying, but it's very inconvenient, but sure. He was like, no man, you need a car. It's like, I wait too, yeah, but it's just a few more months. Let's just lie for a bit. I bet. You can even go on YouTube. I bet. Hey, maybe 6 months later, yeah, like some time does pass by, and then he's like, I'm gonna buy you a car. Like, we do need a second car. Like, I need you to be independent, and I can't always be driving you around, and you're always complaining about Uber and getting the bus, blah blah blah. Like, you need a car. I'm like, no man, I don't need a car. And yeah, we've already discussed about what kind of cars I like, what kind of cars I don't like. And I was open to driving any car, really. He'd ask me, what do you think of the Chevrolet Spark? I'm like, it's good. What do you think of the Ford Figo? It's good. What do you think of the Picanto? I'm fine. I'm fine with really anything. I'm fine with driving an espresso. I remember like our neighbors got an espresso, and we'd laugh at them and we'd judge them, like, what were they thinking? And then I got used to seeing that car, didn't I? And one day I was like to him, you know what? I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. Just point A to point B, I'm good. I guess so. Actually, he's getting the car. He's getting the car from SMD. So SMD, what they do is they sell. SMD sells cars that have been written off from accidents, or cars that have been repossessed by the bank and they're selling them. Mainly cars that have been in accidents, though. I'm not sure. Those kind of cars, though. So my husband is like, and what you do to get a car on SMD, you need to go online and you need to wait and see which cars will be going live, and then you bid on them, right? And they'll sell them at the highest bid, right? So he was telling me that he's bidding for this car. And I'm like, oh, wait, we don't need this car. And he's bid for cars in the past, but he never got any car because the price would just get too high. Like, I don't need this car, and I didn't think he'd get the car. So I see I'm bidding for the Starlet, and I'm like, I wait too, come back home one day. I got the Starlet. Damn, you got the Starlet. For ban. I got the Starlet. And they're gonna, I'm gonna ask the guy to tow it from Boxburg to Toyota at Southgate. I know was Taylor, right? And then if you get a model at Southgate, and then he gets a call from Toyota. Toyota is like, this car is badly damaged. So the car was damaged at the back, I think the thing about SMD, right? If you can go to the place where they keep the cars. I think you can, and check them out. But sometimes they're far. Sometimes say happen and you can't go and see like damage by Ngaganani. So when the car gets to Toyota, they actually call him like, brother, how much are you willing to spend on this car? Because it's badly damaged, right? And it's like, no, I know, just fix the car, right? So they tell the guy who had towed it from Boxburg to take it to another place, I don't know, panel beaters, mechanics, they say Toyota, somewhere else. And then on the way, this guy calls my husband and is like, bruh, these people are going to charge you an arm and a leg. Like, the car is badly damaged, yes, but it's going to be hella expensive. I know a guy who does this sort of work. I've used him before. I know him. We have a relationship. Let me take this car to him. It's like, cool. Avumi husband one. And now to get it, okay, we will come and see the car up. We try and drive there. The place is in a Dodge place. We are getting lost. We are calling. Hey, I'm behind ShopRite. Hey, we are here. You are there. Eventually, we meet up with the guy who was towing, and then we follow him to the place where he had delivered the car to this guy who's gonna fix it. We get there, everyone's like, yo. Hi, Lemoto. Hi, it's bad. I get. At this point, I am fuming. Actually, I leave and I go to the car and wait in his car. So bored, so mad. I'm like, I told this man. And for so they discuss these things. Okay, he's gonna fix it. They actually needed to get a new bag. Because the starlet was fine in the front and it was wrecked at the back. So they had to find a starlet that was wrecked in the front and umva use right. And then batete lamva bazomjoyina. I was like, izovela pilondo wakoyivaphi. You'd be surprised. It didn't even take like a week or two. They found a starlet and bayifumana umqolo wemoto. So kuba imoto zi-2 in all. I get, but let's go back. Ndiyashout seke ngemotweni. Waste imali. Uthi undithengele imoto. Kanti undithengele isikoko. Andizuyiqhuba le moto. Izoqhutywa nguwe, mna andizuyiqhuba le moto. Oh, shem mntakambani. It's like, okay, cool. Zihambe ke imini neentsuku neveki. Demand deceive about, I bought the wrong mirror. We need this mirror. Oh, we need another wheel. They need to buy a door. Guys, you'd be surprised. Like, people make money from buying this sort of cars. So that people buy cars on SMD and either fix them and sell them and make a profit, right? Or if the car is badly damaged, they'll buy the car and then sell the parts, because trust and believe, there's always someone looking for what you have. Looking for something, gearbox, window, back door, bonnet, bumper. There's always someone looking for that. And people make money from this. Like, when I heard about this and I learned about this whole thing, I was like, wow, there are actually so many ways of making money out there. I get a few weeks pass and then kuthiwa imoto igqityiwe ke iyothathwa imoto. Fika imoto sana ayimdaka isithi zine-map and like breaker inenza like some weird sounds, like shh. I'm so bored. And I'm like, I'm never gonna drive this car. Imoto yakho le. Okay, I get a fake moto. Why is that a car wash? Turning at clean nje moto. Turning at kukho into nje kule moto. It's not that bad. I get. So this one day we're driving to work in this car, because at some point he had 2 cars, because I was like, I'm not driving this car. And at some point he was driving the cars himself. So this one day, sometimes I'd go to work in his car and then he dropped me off and then I'd take the bus. I drive, clean. Still making the sounds, but it's clean. You know, it's decent. and then it starts drizzling. As I'm on use festil, ingonyuki festil. Ndithi khawuyehlise kancinci yabo mhlambi ayehlise ayenyuse ingonyuki athi khawuyehlise yakho eyam yehle yonyuke hayibo yonke into right ndithi mhlambi yehlise yonke yabo iphinde yonyuke yehlise yonke ayonyuka ifestile kudala abantu wanethwa kodwa wayofika emsebenzini. And then coming back home, he had to Uber because so he was like, he can't drive this car. Following day, he drives the other car to work. So now at some point, he has 2 cars at work. And then he's like, he's going to drive it back. I said, le window. Basose ke bayiservice phayana. Sure. But then isase Toyota, because the passenger seat safety belt wasn't working also. So they were like, they're gonna fix the safety belt and the window. They fixed the window. I think it was a bit costly, I'm not sure. But I know for sure the safety belt was an arm and a leg. Because they were like, it's not just a matter of fixing the safety belt, it's an entire system. It needs to be connected to the airbags. And guess what? The car didn't have airbags. So they had to install the airbags. But it's not just that. In addition to that, they had to also install the sensor so that the airbags actually pop. 2 arms and a leg. And I'm just like, this brother, are you aware like how much now you are spending on this car and you're trying to save money? Now you're just spending a lot of money. But it still ended up to like less than half of what a brand new Starlet would cost. Okay, maybe not less than half, maybe 60 to 70,000. No, I mean 60 to 70%. A brand new Starlet would cost around 250k. A pre-owned one would cost around 200. We spent a total of 140,000 on the Starlet from SMD. I didn't want to say the amount initially because I think there are so many variables and it would differ depending on many different things, the make and model, the kilometers, the extent of the damage, so it would vary. That's why I didn't want to mention the actual amount. But anyway, let's carry on. Hi, ibuye imoto kwa Toyota. The safety belt is working. There are no weird sounds. Hayibo. Seni ngathi intshanje le moto. Theni ngathi intshanje le moto. But ke disene pride yebo. Ayishem goku like ndiyayithanda le moto shem. It's clean. It's proper. Yay, awunotsho noba wathi wayenza ne-certificate yoba roadworthy and stuff. Yonke into iproper. I ngathi ndiyayithanda nje le moto. But yeah, I still have my pride. I'm not gonna say anything. So fast forward, this is how I started driving the car. This was closer to our wedding in Mpumalanga, and so he had to go home for like a week before, and I had to go to work, and he was like, you have to drive the car. Also, because it won't make sense for you to be Ubering Cinemoto apparently. And that is how I started driving the car. And I'm still driving that car. And now I'm very attached to that car. That's my car. Her name is Simbi. I named her after myself. Actually, njengobona Starlet, just know ba nangu Simbi. That's what we do when we say Starlet. Nangu Simbi. Now I love that car. Yeah, that's how my husband bought me a car. Then if you're wondering how he financed it, because you guys are married, how did he buy you a car? You bought you a car. So how he financed it was that because he was buying the car, And I was like, you're buying that car for yourself. So what he did, he used his business to buy the car. And then he was then going to use the bank to buy the car from his business. And then he was going to pay monthly installments to the bank. So in order to pay himself back or pay his business back, he was going to finance the car through the bank, right? Because the bank won't let you buy a wrecked car or something. Like, they need to see that the car is roadworthy or something like that. So he had to actually buy the car himself, and then he bought it through his business, and then he bought it from his business. Okay, that was the plan anyway. He still hasn't done that. He's still yet to do it. So that's how he bought me a car. But I'm driving the car, right? I'm driving the car. He actually bought the car for me, right? Only like 4 or 5 months later, which was like maybe 2 months ago, did I go to him and I was like, thank you for the car. And he was like, whatever. I was like, oh, Shengu, you bought me a car, thank you. So I was like, whatever. After 6 months of the shout, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love the car so much. It's like, whatever. So would I recommend it? Would I recommend buying a car on SMD? No and yes. No, because if you are a learner driver, that is the last thing you need, like a car with problems. Because, yeah, my car also had a battery issue that took months to fix, because we had to buy a new battery. And then we realized, nope, something is chowing the battery. We took it to Toyota. Toyota couldn't find anything. They just recharged the battery. And then 2 months later, same thing. I'd want to drive the car, started, it wouldn't start. And then, so my husband was like, okay, I know someone who's fixed my car before. I'll take the car to him. He specializes in this kind of things. And then, yeah, they managed to find the wire that was charging the battery. But that was months after. So as a learner driver, I think you don't want those kind of problems, right? But also, if you have a certain budget and you can't afford a brand new car, and you know, you will learn all those things, and I have learned, and really, I have not lost anything. I've actually just gained knowledge, how to buy and sell cars, like what to do when your battery is flat in your car, how to charge it, all those things I learned and suganganda. So that is the story of how my husband bought me a car. At first I didn't like it, but now I love it. I'm attached to my car. I love it so much. And thank you, Mshengu, again. So that's it for today. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope you learned a thing or two about buying cars, pre-owned cars, online, on SMD, on We Buy Cars, or from independent sellers. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.